What's going on, everybody? This is Milton Spence coming to you live with Milt's Coaching Corner. I wanted to make sure to check in with you guys this week as we have been consistently uploading and consistently doing our thing. I appreciate all the feedback that I get from the podcast, whether that be from listening time or that be from viewing time or that be from just flat out letting me know how much you appreciate and not just but in some aspects, a lot of you are telling me how much you love the topics that I'm covering, especially this month where we're speaking on relationships and things of that nature. I know for a fact that it is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to talk about, considering there's so many dynamics and there's so many things that come out of or come into that which is relationships. And I also understand that that which is relationship means that we must understand the biggest thing, which I speak on this podcast a lot about, and that's understanding self, understanding who and what we are, understanding what, we are as far as a person, as far as understanding, what we bring to the proverbial table that everybody talks about, understanding who and what we are when it comes down to our mindset, understanding what we want to do in this life, and understanding how we want to be, right? I've totally been a proponent, and I'm still a proponent of people doing the work within themselves first before they go and get with anybody. The reason being is because that is the greatest work that you will ever do when it comes down to you being in relationships. Now, I understand that when it comes down to this topic, that some people, and I'm praying that this reaches everybody where they stand. Today's topic is understanding the trauma as it relates to your life and mental health. Now, as some of you may know or understand, I am a student of psychology. I currently am attending a university, Kaiser University, I'm in a doctoral program, receiving my PhD in psychology. I took a little hiatus from school and came back, and I'm stronger than ever. Well, through that time, I myself went through some different trauma, some things that I can say were traumatic for me. And I think that is the aspect of what trauma is. Now, trauma is not a one size fits all, and it also is not a one trauma fits all, right? So I believe that we have to be cognizant of, number one, what is the trauma or what has been traumatic for us? No matter what people say is traumatic or not, what has been traumatic for us? I think it benefits us to be in a position where we understand that trauma for us is essential to understanding, because it also helps us put into perspective not just how we respond to stressors, but how we relate to different people within our lives. A lot of people are so disassociated from their trauma, they also forget to be associated with mankind. And a lot of people are so associated with their trauma that they forget to be disassociated from mankind. I, for one, believe wholeheartedly that trauma and traumatic experience are something to behold. Reason being is because it helps us to learn and understand who and what we are. It also helps us learn and understand where it is that we can be, how it is that we can be, and what it is that we can do. And I find it very, 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 very pressing that I help everybody who I come across to understand their triggers and traumas and how they can either associate or disassociate from them within healthy standards. And I believe wholeheartedly as well that our traumatic experiences are what shapes us and molds us to help us to be not only disassociated from them, but also be associated to them when it comes down to us relating to our fellow mankind. So let's discuss trauma in itself. And when it comes down to it, I got my dictionary handy here, and I'm gonna tell you exactly per the dictionary just what trauma is. Okay. Basically, from the APA, American Psychological Association, it's an emotional response to a terrible event like an accident or a natural disaster, and it's also a sexual misconduct. in any form or fashion. Okay. When it comes down to trauma, those things, the biggest part of that is emotion. And emotion within itself can be one of those aspects of life where we either tap into or emotions control us because we are not tapped into them, because we don't understand them, and because we allow them to lead us. Biblically, it says, let's look up what it says about the heart. Biblically, it talks about the heart, and it says, who can follow the heart? For the heart is deep, and it is sick. So essentially, I know people say, follow your heart, right? Give me a second. Oh, there it is. Okay. This is, give me a second. The heart. Yeah. All right, so in Proverbs 28 and 26, it says, he who trusts confidently in his own heart is a dull, thick-headed fool, but he who walks in skillful and godly wisdom will be rescued. What that is saying is direct, but it also has the aspect of understanding that following your heart as it is, with trauma attached to it, also means that you will follow things that will not help you heal, but you will only follow things that will further validate the trauma that you are experiencing. What I mean by that is you will constantly be a reflection of what it is you've been through versus be a reflection of what it is to come over that or get past that or be through with that, right? You will only be a reflection of it versus being a part of the freedom of it, right? An example of what it is to get past it, an example of what it is to move forward from it. And a lot of us are in a position now where we cannot and should not be associating ourselves with anything or anyone that has to do with not just our growth, but has anything to do with challenging us at the moment due to the fact of unresolved trauma. Okay. Relationships are broken because people have hidden things within them and have things within them, whether it be demonic spirits, whether it be a mentality that they are carrying around, and they are not dealing with that. So because they do not deal with that, they only carry that, and those things spread seeds to others. And because they spread seeds to others, we find ourselves in a position always being free of the next traumatic event because we're not doing that work within ourselves, within solitude, in order to fix what it is that is going on with us, so that when we do go out into the world and we do give ourselves over to our fellow man and we do interact with each other, that we're not spreading seeds of hate and more trauma, but we're only spreading the seeds of love, and we are only spreading the seeds of forgiveness and trust and everything that is good. And that most of all, as the word says, that we are only spreading godly wisdom. There's a big difference, a huge difference between a person who operates in a space where they only spread the things that harm them, only spread the things that harm them and spread things that hurt their ego and pride, versus spreading things that are of humility and of God's love. Now, I know deep down inside that you and me have not hit a section in our life where we can say that we're fully healed. I believe the beauty of this entirety is that we are constantly in a state of healing. And I believe that within healing, I know it's contradictory to what I said as far as coming out with people, right? Involving ourselves with people. That's the process. So there's solitude in your healing, and then there's association with your healing. The association has to come in you associating yourself with your trauma, meaning that you are facing it head on, doing what is necessary, whether that be going to talk to a counselor, talking to yourself, praying, whatever it is that you need to do to get back on the straight and narrow. And the straight and narrow that I'm speaking of is not a normative straight and narrow. It doesn't mean that you get back on a straight and narrow as far as what society says is a straight and narrow, or what they mean by that. It totally means that a straight and narrow when it comes down to who and what you are. And if you listen to my podcast, you will hear that that is the stance that I am on, is really wanting to teach people and show people who and what they are, so that people can get in tune with who and what they are. So when it comes down to anything and everything that we do and who and what we are only on a straight and narrow based upon the calling that is within our life. Biblically, it also states that, we are to live a life worthy of the calling that has been given to us. And to live a life worthy of the calling that has been given to us, we have to live it based upon the height of what it is that is expected of us. And a lot of us have a height of things that are expected of us. And to be totally honest with you, we're not ready to reach those heights just yet. We're not ready to reach those heights because there is sometimes things attaching itself to you, such as in this case, your trauma, that doesn't allow you to move on to the next steps in your life. And the way that you feed your trauma is by constantly skipping the steps, right? You say, okay, I'm in a healing phase and I'm not quite ready, but I am going to entertain this person, or I'm going to entertain this thing, or I am going to entertain this family event, right? There is never enough within you to give yourself the opportunity to be better based upon what you do with you. Don't give that to nobody else. Don't give nobody the opportunity to take that from you. And also don't give away your calling. Don't give away your purpose on this earth in order to make others comfortable. Because I promise you this, there's enough people on this earth as it stands right now who will be just fine with you not completing the gifts and not completing the purpose in your life. They will be just fine. Why? Because we know the old adage. We know the adage, right? The adage is misery loves company. And because misery loves company, we have to be able to be okay with the fact that misery is constantly going to be in a standpoint with us, that it will constantly want us to be around it. And it will constantly want us to share its space and its time and its heart. And because we know, or because we should be knowing that misery loves company, we also should understand that peace and love also love company. The fact that we stand, or where we stand, how we stand, right, is that your trauma is a part of you. It is something that you have experienced. It is something that has happened to you, right? But here's another flip on it. And I know, hear me out. I know there's different levels of trauma for everybody. As I stated at the beginning, your trauma is how it shapes out to you. So because there's different levels of trauma for everybody, shouldn't we also understand that your trauma can happen for you as well? And what I mean by that is by that first step. The work that you have to do in order to heal from trauma is not easy. And the reason it ain't easy is because, if that person or somebody else was meant to go through what you went through, then they would. But in reality, you were the only one meant to go through that. And because you were the only one meant to go through that, you did. So because you were the only one meant to go through that traumatic experience, it's up to you. It's up to you in order to do what it takes. It's up to you also to go and do what it takes in order to heal from said traumatic experience. I'm not trying to say it's going to be easy, and I'm also not trying to say it's going to be perfect how you do it. But I'm only going to give you that first step and say, at least take yourself away, put yourself into some type of solidarity with self. Whether that is you still have to be around people, but you still take time to yourself, or it is that you don't have to be around people and you still take that time for yourself. Make the deal with yourself that you're going to be in solidarity while you deal with your mess, while you deal with what has happened to you, and while you deal with what it is that is affecting you. You will take that opportunity to be with yourself and make sure that you heal. And the reason I ask anybody and everybody to do that is because What you spread out here on this earth is everything. What you give to us out here on this earth is everything. How we receive you and perceive you out here on this earth is also everything. So I need you, my friend, my brother, and my sister. I need you guys to please do the work within yourself so that you can be healed. The next step in order to deal with your trauma, right? To have a better relationship overall with self, and also to have a better relationship with others. Another relationship grower and another trauma rectifier is to take time out to be yourself. Taking time out to be yourself. What that means is embracing. The embracement of your traumatic event is also something that is very tough, and I can say that to any and everybody. It is very tough to embrace your traumatic event or your trauma, because once you embrace it, that means you have come to the reality that it is a part of you. You've come to the reality that the way that you talk, the way that you operate, the way that you are, means that you now are that person. And the hardest part about that is you may not want to accept that person. You may not want to accept what you've become. You may not want to accept what you have accepted into your heart. You may not want to accept what you've accepted into your mind. And you also may not want to accept exactly what it is that you now have taken on and portrayed to us out here that you are. You may not be ready to accept the fact that you are now exactly what it is that you've been through. I know a lot of people say, I don't look like what I've been through. Yeah, sure. But the fact is, you are what you've been through. We all are what we've been through, right? And some people would like to fight against that. It's a psychological thing for them. Like, well, I'm not what I've been through. Yeah. But in reality, you are, because you have to acknowledge it and say that you're not that thing. You have to say, I'm not this, to understand that you are that, right? In order to say you're not something, you have to know that it could be a part of you, or that it is a part of you, right? A lot of us have a lot of pride when it comes down to how we want to do this thing called life, right? A lot of us have a lot of pride in how we want to operate in this life. The problem with that is not accepting who you are, not embracing who you are, means that you're going to go around, like we talked about, throwing around those seeds to others, throwing around those seeds to others, and never really getting to a place and a part in your life where you understand that the seeds that you've thrown out to others is only going to come back around to you. It's only going to be something that you will experience, meaning that the better you get at healing, the more that you don't throw those seeds out, the less trauma that you will have to go through, because you are done being the vicious cycle of what it is that you have been through. Some people call it breaking generational curses. Some people call it I'm going to be a brand new me in 2023, right? Some people call it a bevy of things. But the harsh truth is, you are what you are until you break the stance. And you are what you are, whether that is positive or negative, right? You are exactly what you are. So you cannot be taking your trauma and passing it out to people like Skittles. You have to sit down, hug yourself, look your trauma dead in the eye, whatever that experience may be, whoever that experience may have been with. You have to look that in the eye, and number one, you have to forgive it or that or this. You have to forgive yourself, because one thing that you have to know about yourself is that you are human. You are human. You're not a machine. You are not you're not a machine. You're human, man. You're a human being. And because you're a human being, you have to give yourself the grace to understand that it is your trauma. It is something you have been through, but it is not something that has to define you by you avoiding it. You can literally go about it in a way where you don't avoid it. You face it, you embrace it, you look at it dead in the eye, and you say, I am going to get over you. And you call it out, or those things out. I'm going to get over you. I'm going to get through it. And I'm going to come out a better person, so I can go out here in this earth and plant better seeds so that I can receive better as it comes to me, as it goes to me. I no longer want to receive from this world what is not mine. I no longer want to receive from this world what it is that is not meant for me to go through. based upon the fact that I keep giving out trauma, right? The healing process is everything because you need it and I need it. The person who is running into you, imagine the type of people who have run into you in public and they've run into you as you stand, right? Let's just say if you have not done the work and they run into that person, are they running into who you actually are, or are they running into a person that you wish that you weren't? Are they running into a person that you wish that you didn't have to be? I, and for one, truly believe that they are running into a being that you know for a fact that you no longer are. And I know that you wish that you could change that. And I know for a fact that when people run into you in public and you get startled or you get kind of, let's say, some people say shy, but if you get like that, you have to ask yourself, are they running into the full version of you as you are meant to be? Or are they running into the diluted version of you based upon the fact of what you've been through? Those are the questions you should ask yourself in order to make sure you're totally free of the trauma that you have experienced. There's people out here who know for a fact that their faith is being tested. There's people out there who know for a fact that their faith is being harnessed and hurt and, hurled against them. Because your faith, your mentality, the person you're meant to be, the being that you're meant to be is deep behind closed doors. Some of you are in a room curled up in a little ball because you are not coming out. You're afraid of that darkness. There's a light trying to take your hand. A light is trying to take your hand. There's some of you out there who abuse others because you have trauma within yourself. You abuse yourself. You hurt yourself. You harm others because you have trauma. You're hurting because you have trauma. Listen, I pray that you receive the healing that you deserve. I pray that you get the healing from these traumatic events and these traumatic places or these things that have traumatized you. I pray total healing over your body, over your mind, over your soul and your spirit, because we need you guys out here to plant positive seeds. We need you out here to plant better seeds. The interactions that you have online, the interactions that you have in person, sometimes they feel dead, they feel dull. There's rarely people who you speak to where they give you life when you speak to them, right? Or you feel life coming from them when you speak to them. The people you feel life to when you speak to them, talk to them about what they're healing from. Because healing, right, is a process. You get a cut, there's a process in order to heal it. The body goes through a process in order to heal it. So you have to go through a process in order to also heal. But understand where that cut was, the body remembers. You won't forget it. You won't forget it, but you'll do better the next time at protecting yourself from getting it, right? You'll do better next time for protecting yourself from receiving it. And you also will do better by not giving out that same pain because you know what that looks like. You know what that trauma is, so you won't give that out to others. And if you really are having a really, really tough time, I suggest that you go sign yourself up to speak to a therapist. They have telehealth therapists now, so there's no excuse as far as how you go about doing this. There's telehealth therapists now. There's people who will come directly to you and come directly to your house and come directly to whatever, on your cell phone, whatever, and they will counsel you. They will help you. There's a lot of us out here who are trauma bonded, meaning we're bonded not just to trauma from other people, but we're bonded to the trauma that we keep within ourselves. And I pray that all of us, each of you that have any type of trauma bonds or anything that's holding you back, I pray that you release it. Why do I pray that you release it? Once again, we need you. Once again, we need you. And we need you to stand on top of that mountain and be the person that you're meant to be. We need you to stand on top of that mountain and do the things that you're meant to do. Now, if the image came to you that the mountain had anybody up on it except for you, then you are now you don't heal for others. Don't do that. You heal for yourself. You take care of yourself, because what you take care of for yourself, you will understand that now it is up to you to be selfless in how you deal with others to help them now deal with you in a space where there's no more reason for them to hold back or stand back or not be themselves with you, because you're such a light, you're such an open person that now they don't have anything to keep from you. They have everything to show you, and you have nothing to hide or hold from them because you have done so much good work within yourself that you're not afraid to let loose, and you're not afraid to be yourself. You're not afraid to tell that person exactly who you are and what you've been through, because you are no longer that. It ain't about what you look like. It ain't about how you sound. It's about freedom. And the only way you can get to that freedom is you number one, stand in solidarity with yourself. And number two, embrace what it is that you have been through. Face it, and let's do what we have to do to heal from it. Now, notice I didn't give you any steps on how to heal, because there's different steps for everybody. I know everybody has different ways of going about it. Some people use the gym, the swimming pool. I mean, there's so many ways to heal. The brain is so diverse that it can understand what you're trying to do by you thinking about it. But I think wholeheartedly, and this is my stance on it, and I'm sticking to this, wholeheartedly, everybody can heal through prayer. Now, there are things that you need to do because you are a physical being, right? You are a physical being, you're a spiritual being having a physical experience, but you are still a physical being. And so because you are still a physical being, there are things that you must do in order to make sure that you heal, right? In order to make sure that you are making steps towards those positive things. So that way, when you take your stance and you get around people who you love, or you get around people who you don't really like, or you get around people you like a lot, that you are now the being and the person who has done the work to heal from their trauma. I believe in you. I believe in God. And most of all, I know for a fact that he can do all things. And I know personally that I can do all things through Christ Jesus that strengthens me. So I'm here, standing here today, doing this podcast with you as a man who's done the work and is healing, right? Each and every day. That's why I'm able to stand here with you guys today. It's my charge, what I'm meant to do. That's why I'm able to do it, because I am doing the work. I'm not perfect, but I am doing the work in order to get to a place, and I'm striving for perfection because I know that is what I'm meant to do. Biblically, it says for us to strive for perfection in Christ, to strive for perfection, right? Understanding that Christ was the only perfect being. We have to strive to that, because I've never understood the bashing of that. Why? Because Christ did everything right as far as a person is concerned. As far as a human being is concerned, Christ did everything right. Now, why would I not want to strive to be that way? Be a man of kindness and love and peace. And of other people's storms that are out there, I tell them, peace be still. Why would I not want to do that? I should want to be that way. Why would I not want to help other people heal? Why would I not want to lay hands on people and heal the sick and help the people who are poor and help the people? Why would I not want to be that way? So I will strive for perfection, and I will do everything that it takes in order to heal from what it is that I need to heal from. I also will do whatever it takes to be and do what it is that I'm meant to do in this life. And nobody, not even my own self, will stand in the way of that. I will not allow fear or anything or anyone else to take that or take me down or make me feel like I'm not supposed to, or take me around, ring around the rosy. I will be the man, and I will do the very things that I'm meant to do. And I pray to God that you, my friend, you, my people, do the very same thing. Much love, y'all.